For the record, I'm never ever saying again, but that's gonna be easy because it never is.
Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away.
Good morning and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well and you're looking forward to part 2 of our powder room renovation. So basically we're going to pick up right where we left off, but for your benefit, I'm going to speed things up just a little bit. So over the last week or so, we have continued to cut more wood. Now I know in the last video, I thought that we were going to need about 8 to 12 more pieces of wood to be cut before we were finished. But once we went in and did another measurement, we realized that it wasn't 8 to 12 more boards that we needed. It was actually 22. Yes. So back to Lowe's we went to get more wood and more supplies, and day after day after day after day, we have been cutting and sanding wood. And we still aren't finished, but I am happy to announce that we are getting very, very close, and that makes me excited. So today, Mark is going to finish up sanding all of the wood, and then while he's doing that, I'm going to start to work on all of the wall treatments. So thankfully, Mark has removed all of the popcorn from the ceiling, and now I need to go in and do some sanding and some spackling and get everything nice and smooth so I can go ahead and paint the ceiling. Once the ceiling is all painted, then I will go in and hang the wallpaper, which the wallpaper has arrived. It looks so beautiful and I cannot wait to get it in the space and just to see what it looks like. So I'll be working on that today, getting all of the wallpaper hung. And then hopefully once that is done, then all of the wood will be finished and ready to install on the wall. That is the goal. Who knows what's going to happen? But that's what we're working towards. So first, before I get started, I need to go to Sherwin-Williams. I need to look at some paint and pick some of that up. And then I also need to go over to Home Depot and get some supplies, not only for the painting, but also for the wallpaper. And then once I get home, we're gonna go ahead and get to work. So I'm going to grab some water and then I will meet you guys over at Sherwin-Williams. I'm back home now, about to get started on the ceiling. And like I mentioned earlier, Mark took down all of the popcorn from the ceiling, which is great. But as I'm looking in this light, I'm seeing that there's still some popcorn around the edges of the walls that I want to try to get as smooth as possible. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my sander and kind of smooth those areas down as much as I can. Then I'm gonna take some of that skim coat or spackling and put that all over the ceiling, allow that to dry. Once that dries, then I'm gonna take my sander and smooth everything down again. And then hopefully at that point, everything will be ready to paint. I'm so excited about the paint color. Love that Sherwin-Williams is able to match the exact color that you bring into the store. I think it's just gonna really look beautiful and be able to tie the ceiling in with the wallpaper. It was kind of funny while I was there, the girl that was helping me out, she was like, well, most people paint the ceiling white. And I was like, exactly, most people do, but not me. And so I really love this color, and I think it's gonna be beautiful, not only on the ceiling, but I think that the window that I'm standing in front of, the trim around the window, I think I'm gonna paint that the same color. And I'm also thinking about painting the back of this door as well as the trim. I just think that when you're in here and the door is shut, it doesn't make sense for all of this to be white when everything else is going to be that background color of the wallpaper. So that's what I'm thinking, at least right now. Of course, I can change my mind at any point, but I'm thinking that this is gonna be that same color. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my sanders, get the spackling, grab a mask, and then it's time to get to work. So let's get started. So we run into a little bit of a problem. So as we were making the cuts to the wood last week, making that cove cut, as we were pushing the wood against the saw blade, I noticed that there were lines that were left from the saw blade in our wood. And as this was happening, I didn't really think that it was a big deal because I knew that we were going to have to sand it. And so I figured once we went ahead and sanded it, then all of the lines would disappear and we could go ahead and stain it. And we have been sanding for the last several days, and just today we were sanding for a good couple of hours. And I don't know why I've waited until this moment to think of this, but I was like, even though we have gotten all of the wood pretty much smooth, you still see some of the faint lines within the wood. And so I thought to myself as I was just sitting here, maybe I should take one of our sample pieces and go ahead and put some stain on it to see if you are going to see these lines. You can't feel the lines, but you can kind of see them. And I was wondering, are you going to see it under the stain? And so I just went ahead and stained a piece of our sample wood, and this is what it looks like. You can see all of these lines. These are all saw blade lines. And I don't know what you guys think about it, but for me, with the amount of time and money and effort and manpower, hours and hours and hours have been spent on cutting these pieces of wood. I honestly feel like I don't want to see the saw blade lines. I think having a few of them is okay. And like I mentioned in last week's video, I don't want the wood to look completely perfect. I do want it to look like it was handmade, like it was. And in the artist world, we call it the maker's mark. And it's kind of like the thing that shows you that a piece was handmade. So a nick in a piece of wood, some of the glaze running off of a pottery piece that you made in class, little things that just show you that this was done by hand and not by a machine in some factory. And so I do want to see some of that. But I'm just thinking that all of these lines, I just don't think that it's gonna sit well with me. I think that I will just, if I leave it, I think every time I go into the bathroom, I'm gonna wish that I would have taken the time to sand those lines down. So Mark is currently out running around at Lowe's, Home Depot, Freight Harbor, trying to find a sanding solution because we have used lots of different sanders, but nothing is getting those lines down like we want them to. We've tried regular sandpaper, we've tried the sanding blocks, we've even tried our machine here, which this actually works well for the sides, but then when you're talking about the Cove area, this just can't fit down below. So it's almost like we need like a ball or something that kind of flexes, that can get down into that groove so that we can get some of the lines out. I don't know what he's going to be able to find. Hopefully he can find some workers there that kind of know what they're talking about in terms of wood and sanding and maybe can give him some options. But while he's out, I'm going to go back inside and sand down all of the spackling. I'm going to wash the walls down and get started with painting. And then when he comes back, hopefully he's going to have some sort of solution, because my brain, I can't think of anything else, and I've scrolled and scrolled and scrolled trying to think of an option, and I just have not had any luck. So hopefully he comes back with some options, but until then we're gonna head back inside. So I'll see you in there in just a minute. So a little update from the last time that we spoke. So in the powder room, the ceiling, so far I have 2 coats of paint on the ceiling, as well as 2 coats of paint around the trim of the window, and both of those spaces are looking really, really good. I'm so glad that I decided to go with the color of the background of the wallpaper versus with just going with white. I think it's gonna really look stunning once that wallpaper goes up. I have decided to go ahead and paint the trim around the door, as well as trim the backside of the door, but I think that I want to wait until we get the wallpaper and the paneling on the bottom half of the wall installed, just because there's just going to be a lot of movement in and out of the space, and I just don't want us to nick any of the paint or mess it up in any way. So I think that that's going to be probably one of the final things that I do once the both wall treatments are installed. So Mark is back home. He went to all 3 hardware stores, and unfortunately there just wasn't anything within the stores that we could use that was going to help the sanding process of ours. He did bring home a lot of sandpaper with different grits. He brought home some more blocks, and I just think, unfortunately, we are just going to have to, as my dad calls it, use some elbow grease because there just isn't anything. There is one tool that I happened to find on Amazon that does actually have that ball that I was telling you guys about, or that I was thinking of so that it can get down into the inside of the Cove, but it's $500 and I'm just not willing to spend that. Neither is Mark. And so I think that we're just going to do it ourselves with our own 2 hands. Now, if I thought that I was going to be doing this project again or doing something that I would need that tool, then I would make the investment, but I just don't foresee us doing a project like this again in the near future, so I just don't know if it's worth spending that money on it right now. So one thing that we did find out by watching YouTube University is that they say that when you are trying to smooth out wood, and you're definitely seeing those grooves like we're seeing in our wood from the saw blade, that a lot of the sawdust gets inside of those grooves. And so as you're sanding and sanding and sanding, that sawdust is inside of those grooves and not allowing you to move that rough part that you're wanting to remove. So what you're supposed to do is sand, and then wipe that away, spray it with water. I know, spray it with water, let that dry for a little bit, wipe the board down, sand it again, and the grooves and all of the little marks and lines from our table saw should be removed. I just tried it and it works. So yay, we found a solution, but do you know how many boards we have to do this for? A ton of them. And this is why this project is just taken forever. All of that work that we have done previously on sanding these boards, for the most part, it did get it nice and smooth, so I don't think we're gonna have to spend as much time on each board, but regardless, each and every board, we're gonna have to do this process of sanding, wiping, spraying, drying, sanding again, and hopefully that is going to work for us. I don't know. So it's getting close to the end of the day. This has been a very full day. Lots has happened, and honestly, I just need a cocktail. So I think we're just gonna go and grab a drink and a bite to eat, and then we'll start this all again tomorrow morning. But yeah, this project is, do I think it's going to be worth it? I do. I think it's going to be beautiful, and I think all of this work is going to be worth it. But right now, I think I've lost my mind. All right, I'll see you guys in the morning. my part is officially done. I am not sanding any more wood for the longest time. I promise you that. I don't care how many scratches are on this wood now. I am done. So I am going to take the rest of the evening off, and then tomorrow we will be back, and finally we are going to start wallpapering. Good morning. So today is wallpaper day. Oh my God, I am so excited. You guys know that this day has been a long time coming. We have been working on cutting and sanding that wood for 2.5 weeks straight, literally every single day. And I am so glad that we are finally finished with it, and it is time to move on to putting up this wallpaper. So I'm going to take you guys out into the kitchen because I have set up a little wallpaper station out there that has all the supplies that I'm going to need in order to hang the wallpaper today. It is looking so good. I just took out all the wallpaper from the box and kind of placed it on the table, and I'm just so excited to finally get it up here. So, so excited. All right, let's go to the kitchen and get this process started. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, but it's looking really good, isn't it? I'm a little a little obsessed with it. But let me tell you, this is nerve-wracking. It really is. Trying to match two pieces of wallpaper together so that the patterns are seamless all around the space just is not for the faint of heart. But I did make a mistake. So what I didn't realize is that each panel of wallpaper is numbered. Yeah, that would have been really helpful to know ahead of time, but I put one piece of wallpaper up. It went up seamlessly. I grabbed another roll, not realizing that they were numbered, and it just would not match. No matter what I did, I could not get the patterns to match each other. And so I got down off of the ladder, went and checked the instructions again, and that's where I saw that each panel are numbered. So crazy. Had I had known that, I would not have made that mistake. But now that I have that information, the paper has just been going up really nicely. And another thing that I didn't realize is that you're supposed to overlap the wallpaper. I thought you were supposed to just butt them up against each other, but you're actually supposed to overlap. And by overlapping, it really does help match with the pattern. And they say in the instructions that once the wallpaper dries, it shrinks a little bit. And so, it kind of just falls right into place. Whether if you would have done it butt up right against each other, once the wallpaper starts to shrink, you're going to start to see a line in between each panel. And that's absolutely what you do not want. So I'm glad that I saw that in the instructions as well. But yeah, it's starting to look really, really good. I'm about halfway done. It's taken me maybe about 2.5 hours to get here, just because I've really been trying to match the patterns perfectly, or as perfect as I can. So I think I probably have like a good another hour and a half. This wall that I'm going to be starting on next is just a flat wall, so I don't have to cut around doors. I don't have to cut around windows, which is going to be really nice. So hopefully these are just going to start to roll up pretty quickly and easily. But first, I need to take just a little bit of a break. I need to grab some water, get some lunch, sit down for a second, and then when I come back, we'll finish up the room. Here that I had to kind of decoupage together, and so you can see this area looks a little messy, so I'm hoping that I can use this to cover it up. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think. So I think it could go. Not bad, right? only blame myself for saying that this wall wasn't going to take that long, because it actually took me probably another 2.5, 3 hours just to finish this wall and that piece above the door. It was the corners that got me, because there was one piece over here that only had like this much wall that needed wallpaper, and then the rest of the wallpaper was going to go on the opposite side of the wall. And so just as I was getting that pattern to match, this part of the wallpaper fell on top of me and it ruined the pattern that I had all lined up. And that happened several times. So yeah, it took me quite a while to get it finished, but man, do I think that it looks good. I am so happy that I went with this wallpaper. I really do think that it is perfect in this space. So what I'm gonna do next is allow the wallpaper to completely dry before I take my X-Acto knife and cut around the window as well as the ceiling and the door behind me. There's lots of little pieces that are just sticking out, but they say wait until the wallpaper completely dries, and then those little trim pieces should be able to just fall off very easily. So next up is the wood, and actually Mark is out in the garage right now. I hear him like wiping down and just doing some fine sanding to the pieces of wood, and I hope to get at least a couple of pieces up on the wall today before we lose the sun, but then tomorrow we'll be back to hopefully finish out the bottom of the walls, and I cannot wait for that. So let me go check on him in the garage, and then hopefully we can hang a piece or two this evening. So I'll see you guys out there. Good morning. So I've gotten my spin class in this morning. I feel really good and energized after that. I got my newsletter out, and for those of you who are not following me on my newsletter, I send one out every Friday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. So I'll pop a QR code here that you can use, or I will also put in a link down in the description box, but we always have a really good time there every Friday, and I would love for you to join us. So last night we continued to do some sanding, and believe it or not, we are still not done. But right now we're at the stage where we're taking a very fine, like 220 grit sandpaper and just trying to smooth out all of the wood as much as we can so that it's ready for staining at some point. So I brought a few pieces in just so that I can kind of show you guys what we're thinking and kind of talk about some of the things that we're a little concerned about in terms of this install. So we purchased several pieces of this really thin wood, and what we're thinking is that we're going to nail this wood into the studs into the wall, so that when we place the boards onto the wall, they have something to attach to versus just going straight into the drywall. We don't want these boards to fall down by any means, and so we're thinking that if we attach this thin strip to the wall into the stud and then nail the pieces of coved wood onto this strip, hopefully everything will stay up and nothing will be falling over. So we're just going to try to figure that out today, of what is the best way to install this wood so that it is secure and it does not come down. Another thing that we also need to figure out is the trim. We need to put down a shoe molding of sorts, not in the traditional sense, but in a way that makes sense with the curve of our coved wood. And so we have to figure that out as well. And today is Friday, and this video goes out in 2 days. And as much as I want to say that this entire wall is going to be installed, it's going to be stained and trimmed out, I just don't know if that's going to happen. All I can say is we'll see, especially how today goes. And then of course I still have to edit this video. So I feel like I'm running out of time. I am definitely working as hard as I possibly can. So if we don't get it all stained today, then for sure in next week's video, everything when we do the reveal will be stained and beautiful, and you guys can see it then. So we'll see how today goes, but first, let's cut some wood. A little bit of an issue. Two issues. One is the corners. Because the wood is coved, I'm just having a hard time figuring out how to fit the corners. And if all the stars align, then each of the corners will be the same. But that probably is not going to be the case, because if we fit that corner over there, the amount of wood that we need to get over here might not be the same to be able to fit the corners. I don't know if I'm making sense, but it's giving us quite the problem, because until we can figure out the corners, we can't finish putting up the boards. And then the second thing that is giving us a problem is underneath the window. And so I will show you guys, I'll pull up a clip of what it looks like underneath the window, and I'm wondering, do we keep it raw the way that it is right now, or do we cut it down? Because on top of all of the boards, we're going to trim everything out, and there's going to be a piece that lays flat on top of the boards just to make everything look nice and finished. I'm wondering, do I keep it the way that you see it now, or do I cut it down some and then fit a trim piece underneath the window? I just don't know how that's going to look. So yeah, that is the problem that we're dealing with, and it's 3:20. I've been working on this ever since I pressed submit on my newsletter this morning. I've been working on this, and I only have one piece of board up. Oh my gosh! Stay tuned.
Yeah, I don't know if it needs. I honestly don't think it needs it. Yeah, because then so then if you just put those up there like that, exactly. Yeah, I don't think it needs it, because now look at it in here. Oops, let me do that. Yeah, I don't think it needs it.
Well, today just didn't go as planned, and it sucks. It does, because this project, I really want to finish it just because we have been without this powder room for well over a month and a half now, and I really want to have it back, but I also really want to just get it finished for you guys, for myself. I just want to see how it all comes together. And so these little things that are popping up today are just things that I didn't think of when I dreamt of this space. And so while it's a little frustrating, I have to give myself some grace, because I am completely DIYing this from an image that I have in my head and trying to make that into reality. And so it's just, and this is real life, this is what happens in real life. And I have these deadlines that I'm trying to meet, but unfortunately just sometimes they're not possible. And so that's the reality of it. So if you guys follow my newsletter, you know that tonight the Olympic opening ceremonies comes on, and my family and I are huge fans of the Olympics. And so we are going to have some snacks, and I'm going to make a cocktail, and we're just going to enjoy the opening ceremonies as we continue to think about what we're gonna do in here. And so, like I said, today is Friday, tomorrow is Saturday. I haven't even touched the editing of this video, but I do plan to come back tomorrow, and hopefully we're gonna put up some more boards. By no means is it gonna be finished by the end of this video, but I really am aiming for that to happen next week. So I'm gonna enjoy some caviar and I will see you guys in the morning. Chips and caviar. Oh my God, Tara, it's so good. It's a potato chip, a little bit of creme fraiche with chive and lemon juice mixed in with that, topped with caviar. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. That is so... This is just so bougie and delicious. I love it. Happy Olympics. So I made some coffee and decided to come into this space with fresh eyes this morning, and it's looking really, really good. I hope you guys agree with that. We are nowhere near where I thought we would be at this moment, being that it's Saturday, the day before this video goes live, but the work that we've done in here so far looks really, really good. And so today we are just going to work as hard as we can to get as much wood up as we can. I think I'm going to give myself until like 2 o'clock today. And then at 2 o'clock, I'm gonna have to cut things off and go ahead and get started on editing this video. So what we have up at 2 o'clock is what I will finish out this video with, and then everything else will wait until next week's reveal. But I'm looking forward to seeing how much we can get done today. I hope you guys watched the Olympics opening ceremonies last night. I thought that they were so good. I loved how the athletes came in on boats versus walking into some sort of stadium. I actually really love like the Les Mis and like the hard rock grunge band together. That mixed together just did something for me. I don't know why, because it's not my typical type of music, but I really enjoyed that. And then ending it with Celine Dion. Oh, it was like, I was like holding back tears just because of everything she's going through right now, physically, just to be up there and to do a performance like that was just, wow, that was something to see. So I'm glad I was able to watch it. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And that caviar with the potato chips and the creme fraiche, wow, so good. So anyway, let me stop rambling on because we clearly have a lot of work to do. And yeah, we'll see what happens at 2 o'clock. We've been figuring out what to do in this corner, and initially I thought that maybe we could just go ahead and put a piece of wood here to finish out the corner and then go ahead and keep installing the wood down this way. But the more that we've been thinking about it, we were thinking, what if we cut this board maybe like right here? And here's a little sample. So if we do that, then it kind of matches the same thickness over here in this corner piece of wood, and it makes just a nice little cove in the corner versus having a full piece like that. Hopefully that makes sense, but I'm thinking that this is gonna be the right way to go. I think it just looks more polished and finished. All right, let's go cut some wood. Stapler in. But yeah, stick it there since we're gonna have a trim piece on top. I say
Now,
do
we might
that.
have to angle it a little
That's fine.
because this is straight,
Right.
but to go against the wall. But you know
That's
what?
fine.
You'll never, it's the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, the roundness.
I love it. Let's do it. Yay!
We have one win of this entire project. One win.
Unfortunately, I am gonna have to stop here because if I don't, you guys will not have anything to watch tomorrow. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed watching this video and watching the reality of putting this room and transforming this room into something we hope will be really, really special. Another thing about this video that I hope is helpful is for people who actually plan to do this cove cutting method. When I was first researching this method, I found lots of different ways to actually cut the wood, but very little, actually no videos told you all of the work and all of the sanding that you were going to have to do after the cut. And had I had known that, maybe I would have made a different decision, but hopefully this video will help those moving forward who plan to use this method in your homes. But yeah, it is looking really, really good, and I cannot wait to get it finished. Just because we're cutting the video here doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to work on this later on tonight, through tomorrow and all next week. And I hope that next Sunday I will have a full reveal of how we've transformed this space into something that hopefully will be magical. So again, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I'm gonna get to editing. I can't wait to talk to you guys down in the comments. I wanna know what you think about everything. And yeah, until then, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on the newsletter on Friday and then right back here next Sunday. I hope. Stay tuned to the newsletter to know for sure, but I hope to be back here next Sunday for a final reveal. So with that, I will see you later. Bye.